who maybe might be the best candidates for the Peacock mute button. Could be the beginning of changing the way that some of us at least watch football on television. The idea of muting the announcers, believe it or not, is not a new idea. Perhaps if you're really into announcing and not into stadium noise, you could even turn down the stadium noise and just listen to the announcers like it's a golf tournament. Peacock pitching what could be the beginning of changing the way that some of us at least watch football on television. Peacock announcing that they are going to look into putting together a feature that allows the viewer to either silence the announcers and just listen to the ambient stadium noise, or perhaps if you're really into announcing and not into stadium noise, you could even turn down the stadium noise and just listen to the announcers like it's a golf tournament, from what I gather, although I'm not sure that that's a feature that very many of us would want to use. But the idea of muting the announcers, believe it or not, is not a new idea. NBC, back in 1980, under Don Ohlmeyer, broadcast a game between the Jets and the Dolphins that had no announcers. It was on December the 20th, 1980. That game was just like you were sitting on the, I was going to say the 50-yard line, sitting on wherever the line of scrimmage is, as we get to do when we're at home. We always have a really good angle, and there were no announcers. And some people at the time praised it as being a good thing. It was never replicated. It hasn't been done again until perhaps during the 2026 regular season, when Peacock viewers, including myself, I subscribe to Peacock. I got to have all the platforms where there's going to be NFL action and so forth. So I got to tell you, it's something that intrigues me. And with that being said, I want to welcome to the program now the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee. He is Ronnie T-Shirts. Ronnie, the idea of having more control as a viewer in this era that we live in now, where everything is about trying to feed niche interest and give you more control over the content that you receive and the nature of the content that you're receiving, I suppose that this is a logical step that maybe you could see that writing on the wall. What do you think about the idea of watching football on television with just the crowd noise and the stadium noise?
Only if it's a game that Beth Mowins or Tony Romo's doing. Other than that, I don't mind the announcers.
The list might be a little longer than that.
It probably
me.
Is.
We'll have to talk about this. I smell a gimme five coming. Talking about announcers maybe that we might want to mute, or perhaps that we would never want to mute. But in general, what do you think about the idea? I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to do it all the time.
No,
but I
like the announcers.
I could see myself doing it on occasion.
I like the announcers just because it's giving me information that, sometimes you're not picking up. Like, unless you are a super fan, I don't know every single player on a team. I don't know like who made that block, who made that key block, who did this, who did that. Like, so I like that these guys are informing me as I'm watching the game. There's just some people that have, voices
Ron,
that annoy me.
Let me ask you a question.
Other than that.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You attend a lot of football games in person. Don't you have fun? You don't need the announcers when you're there in Ohio Stadium.
It's a different experience. And so I'm like,
What if there were drunk people? What if me and Ryan Walker and maybe a few other of your friends, okay, and we'll bring everybody together and we'll take our shirts off and we'll just like mill around your living room drinking beer while you're watching the 98-inch screen, and maybe it'll make you feel more like you're at a football game.
Yeah.
And therefore the announcers will be less important.
No, I don't think you walking around naked in my living room is going to increase
Well, I didn't
my
say
enjoyment.
naked. I'm not gonna be dangling for your delight. Let's not go
It
that
would be
far.
for
Although
your
you might
delight.
not
It
be
would
able
be
to
for your
might
delight.
not be able to handle the physique that's under this hoodie, Ron. I'm just telling you right now.
No, Ricky, it's just two
So
different.
yeah,
It's two different experiences. It's two different experiences.
and look, I agree with you. I don't know that it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to do. Maybe people will try it for a couple of possessions, maybe a quarter or two. Maybe some people will like it so much that they'll leave it that way for an entire game. But I just think we've been conditioned through our entire lives to the rhythm of what watching a football game on television is like, and the conversation between the announcers and breaking down replays and so forth and all of that, I think is probably a little too attractive for most of us to give up, unless you have a wild hair once in a while and maybe you feel like doing it. But Ron, this did get Tim and I thinking about announcers earlier, and the announcers that you would never want to mute, and you contributed to the the show text thread by naming some people that you might not mind muting. So with that being said, this is going to be generous because there's going to be more than 5, but this seems like a good time for a little segment that we like to call on the program, Give Me 5. So, Ronnie, I'm going to keep it on Give Me 5 because I'm going to give you 5 announcers, and I've kind of cheated here because I'm doing some of these as group entries, but I'm going to give you 5 announcers that I would say I have enjoyed the most during my life watching football, people that I would consider it just to be a sin to turn off the volume and not listen to them while you're watching a game from the comfort of your own home or, I don't know, at a bar somewhere, wherever you like to take in the action. I will begin with the broadcast team that made me fall in love with the NFL. Howard Cosell, Frank Gifford, Dandy Don Meredith. Monday Night Football announcing in its platonic form, the greatest combination that there's ever been for my money. Now, were they the best for X's and O's? Hell no, far from it. All right? If you're used to watching games in 2025 and getting the kind of analysis that you get about coverages and who's doing what and why that result happened, and you watch an old ABC Monday Night Football game from the 70s or 80s, you're going to find that a lot of the analysis is lacking. But the conversation was great. The personalities were larger than life. And Monday Night Football was just a fucking event. Everybody over the age of 50 is nodding their head right now and testifying that absolutely I'm right about that. So I will begin with those guys. That, to me, when I was a kid, was the team. Over on NBC, the real treat was getting to watch Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. The number one team for NBC for, God, I don't know how many years it was that they were together. It was a long time, not long enough, but typically the NBC game, AFC action in those days, you were going to get Enberg and Olsen on that game. And Dick Enberg, one of the greatest professionals, one of the smoothest that there's ever been. He was great at baseball, tennis. He was a legend for a reason. And then Merlin Olsen, who was, of course, an actor. He was Father Murphy. He was on Little House on the Prairie. He was a guy that you would see turning up on television in different roles at the same time. One of the finest color analysts in the history of the league. Now, obviously, you know the next one's coming. When I tell you I got a list of my favorite football announcers, it's no secret. Pat Summerall and John Madden. Probably the greatest duo that there's ever been if we're really going to break it down and say who has had the biggest impact. Certainly, they stand shoulder to shoulder with the ABC crew. And I think a lot of people would rank these guys as the gold standard, the best to ever do it. As I've said before, the guy who was drunk sounded sober. The guy who was sober sounded drunk, and it was perfect. And whether it was on CBS or later on Fox, tuning in on a Sunday afternoon, Texas Stadium in Dallas, the San Francisco 49ers in town, Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Joe Montana. Who better to hear it than those guys? And of course, coming up after the game, we all know, was murder. She wrote. All right, so there's my top three. Now, the last two that I'm going to put in aren't teams, but they're individuals. Al Michaels. I'm not going to let Al Michaels slip through the cracks because Al Michaels was great for many years on ABC after the Dandy Don, Howard, Frank era. For a long time, we all remember it was Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf, which was a pretty good booth. Obviously, we know the work that he's done with Madden, the work that he's done with Chris Collinsworth. When Al Michaels is in the booth, you just know you're going to get a quality professional broadcast. He is long in the tooth now. He gets criticized sometimes for sounding a little bit less than maybe completely passionate. It used to be, do you believe in miracles? Yes. And now sometimes you'll see a 40-yard touchdown, and it seems like Al's kind of flatline in the booth. Maybe he's lost a little off the fastball, but if you look at his career body of work, has to be on the list. And then lastly, of course, the voice of college football and the play-by-play man, the first season of Monday Night Football in 1970 for 1 year. A lot of people forget this man was on Monday Night Football. I speak, of course, of Whoa Nelly, the great Keith Jackson. And I've told many times the story of the conversation that I got to have with him. I had about a 30-minute phone call with Keith Jackson. Driving along, going home to get my microphone to be able to interview him. He called me while I was in my car driving home from the college that I taught at. I had about a 30-minute commute. I said, "Oh, Mr. Jackson, I thank you so much for getting back to me. I just don't have my recorder with me right now." And rather than calling me back, Keith was kind of just like, "Well, I don't have anything else to do." And he and I talked for about a half an hour on my drive home. We talked about wide world of sports, Acapulco cliff diving, all the different things that he covered. And truly one of the great treats, one of the pinch myself moments of the Super 70s era, getting to talk to Keith Jackson. So shout out to him. So that pretty much encompasses all of my grade. I gave you a gimme 5 that was actually 9 people, I think. So I'm happy with that. But Ronnie T-shirts, it's not all sunshine and glory holes when you're talking about announcing in the NFL, even if it is a Dallas Cowboys game. And so, Ronnie, who maybe might be the best candidates for the Peacock mute button, in your opinion?
Okay, so I already said Tony Romo and Beth Mowins. And Tony Romo's just he's just annoying. It's just like, I think he's going to run around. And there he goes. It's like, come on, dude, stop. I generally, I don't want to sound, sexist, misogynist, whatever you want to say, but I just do not like listening to women call men's sports. I mean, there's a few exceptions, and that's fine, but there's one, Beth Mowins, I might not even watch the game. She's so awful. Last night, on countless times, I texted my friends, Chris Fowler needs to settle the fuck down. His incessant screaming, anytime there's a long pass or whatever, it's like, oh my gosh, dude, you need to relax. I don't like sideline reporters. I think they're useless. I don't I know these, you can just look in the coach's eyes when they're being asked a question and they just give the most canned, oh, we need to execute and, be disciplined and play our heart. They don't want any part of it. And that has nothing to do with it being a woman. It's just like it's useless. And then the other one I'm starting to grow to really dislike is the guy in the booth that's supposedly the rules expert. And so they ask him, "Hey, what do you think here?" He gives his answer. He's wrong. And then he comes back and he's like, he acts like, "Well, you didn't let me finish." If he gives like a disclaimer, so I'm kind of done with that stuff too. So I guess I answered probably way more than you're expecting.
Hey, listen, sideline reporters in general, Armin Katayan. I always thought Armin Katayan, good sideline reporter. There are a handful that I think are good. Most of them, it's just platitudes and coaches who are just given the most cliche sound bites because they just want to get into the locker room and talk to their team. Let me bring in now the man with the most years of experience in television on this program. He is one of the finest producers to ever ply his trade. Producer Tim joins the program now. And Tim, when I talk about it, good or bad, what do you think of in terms of announcers that maybe have to go, or announcers that you would consider to be so great that we just never would want to turn down the volume on them?
Just a bit outside, Ricky, as we look here on a beautiful Friday afternoon. Look at you, sweet bitches. I'm going to call you bitches, not bastards from now on. Listen,
Bitch is
man,
back, baby.
I'll give you
Stone
40
cold
seconds
sober,
here
as a matter of fact, or maybe not.
Right. Just a bit outside. So this is a long time in the making, as you alluded to. Don't forget the Dennis Miller experiment and putting comedians and Tony Kornheiser and
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. So the cynic in me says this is definitely going to cost people their jobs. There's no doubt. It's been long debated, as you said, 1980. Do you even need announcers? And I'm not sure. Look, Megacast, the Pat McAfee Altcast, the Skycam version, the All 22 version. Listen, there's something to be said for it. Interestingly enough, this is also going to enhance not just audio, according to their press release. It's going to help with very common viewer complaints: dark picture, low contrast. This is also to try to do away with people having to put captions on the screen. So this Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, they're also promising like a much crisper, better looking picture. I'll say this to you, bro. I'm still a guy who occasionally will put on the TV and listen to a baseball game on radio, although now the sync is off by like 40 seconds. The coolest experience I've ever had is going to a NASCAR race and literally putting on the headset, and you decide which driver, crew chief you want to hear. So, Ronnie, you're at the Ohio State game. Imagine being able to hear calls from your defensive coordinator or the booth. Obviously, they wouldn't let you do that, but that's by far the coolest thing I've seen at NASCAR. The spotter up top on your left, and then the driver dives down and he misses. It's amazing, the coordination there. So, look, it's a sign of things to come. You absolutely are going to see fewer and fewer, I think, announcers, because don't forget, it's going to be a click of a mouse somewhere to say, I don't want to hear that. So you want a Q rating, Ricky, you're going to get an instant Q rating. People think Chris Collinsworth sucks. NBC brass thinks he's great. And then all of a sudden you have data that says 70% of these people mute him. Holy shit. You're talking about a revolutionary change. Listen, man, I don't necessarily want to lose anybody, but I just wish life were more like Harry Doyle. Peace.
All right, fair enough. Tim in and out, just ghosting out like Dr. Bombay popping in on Bewitched. It's magical, actually, Ron, but it wasn't as magical as the first time that I downloaded and used Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. I've had a great deal of fun and some success this season as well. We were talking earlier this week about how our viewers could have profited if they listened to my picks as we've gone through the year. And so I can certainly tell you that one of the picks that I have for this weekend, I've got some picks that I'm going to give you today, but I've already got one in the queue for this weekend that includes Caleb Williams. And I'm very excited about that because Caleb Williams is the max discount currently at Prize Picks. This Saturday against the Green Bay Packers, all Caleb Williams has to do is throw for more than half a yard. So let's just gain a yard, and you are going to win that element of your lineup. So this is a great time to sign up and join PrizePicks and take advantage of a freebie that is on the board, and I am going to make this very easy for you. Simply download the app, sign up, and use my code Ricky when you do it. And when you play one $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in free lineups that you will be rewarded with, and it's so easy. Why would you not do this? Download the app, use code Ricky, play a $5 lineup. You're in one Abe Lincoln. You get $50 of house money with which to profit and begin to build your PrizePicks bankroll. And I am going to give you not only that piece of advice, but as Gucci Mane once said, I'm a financial advisor. I'll make you wiser. And here's my financial advice for your lineups this weekend once you download America's #1 fantasy sports app. And I've got another Andrea True connection, more. How do you like it? I think I'm going to like this one a lot, and you're going to like it too if you play it. I've got Cam Little of the Jacksonville Jaguars, as Charles C.W. Cook likes to call his favorite team. I think that he's going to be good for more than 1.5 extra points. The Jaguars are playing very well. They got a real chance to knock the Buffalo Bills out in this season that for a while we were thinking no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson. It's going to be an open door for Josh Allen. Perhaps not so fast. The Jaguars are going to put some points on the board. Take Cam Little and the more. I've got Saquon Barkley to go over half a touchdown, to score a touchdown either rushing or receiving. Hell, he might get one both ways. I like that pick. And then lastly, the Houston Texans defense that P.A. Jared was extolling the virtues of before we began taping today. A great defense. There's a reason that the more or less for Aaron Rodgers is only 149.5. They're teasing me. They're tempting me. They're saying, come, take the legend and the more. And I bet on it. I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to go for more than 149.5. There it is, your financial advice. Download the app, use code Ricky, play that lineup, make some money, thank me later. PrizePicks, where it's always good to be right. As many of you know, the Athletics are officially without a city name currently in Major League Baseball. They are referred to only as the Athletics because they're in limbo right now. They left Oakland after the 2024 season, played this past year in Sacramento. They're going to be in Sacramento this year and next year. In 2028, they moved to Las Vegas. And so temporarily, they're known simply as the Athletics because Major League Baseball doesn't want to give Sacramento the courtesy, I suppose. And it's uncertain right now whether they're ever going to be known as the Las Vegas Athletics or perhaps just the Vegas Athletics because their trademark application was denied. Yes, that's right. A franchise that dates back to 1901. The origins in Philadelphia, they later became the Kansas City Athletics. Charlie Finley moved them to Oakland. They became the Oakland Athletics. They wish to be one day the Las Vegas Athletics, but the U.S. Patent and Trade Office says athletics actually means activities such as sports, exercises, and games that require physical skill and stamina. Therefore, the prior registrations do not support the applicant's claim of acquired distinctiveness, and the claim is not accepted. To complicate matters a bit further, there is an Oakland A's fan group that is known as the Last Dive Bar, and they filed for Las Vegas Athletics in 2024. Putting their own application out there, essentially as a troll move or perhaps a move that they thought might gum up the works and make it more difficult for Las Vegas and the franchise to acquire the name. So right now, as things currently stand, the Las Vegas Athletics or the Vegas Athletics is not going to happen 2028 when they get there. And so you start to ask the question, well, what does this mean? This team has been the Athletics across various locations in America for 125 years. Stadium construction there, you can see it. Got a beautiful stadium. What is the team going to be called that is in that stadium of the future that we see there? It's certain the rendering looks gorgeous, and just look at it. It's different. It's unlike anything that we've ever seen before. The way that that roof works. And I think I'm going to go to Vegas and see it. I don't need a lot of an excuse to go to Vegas anyway. There's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be a team that has a lot of people coming out to see them. It's a small ballpark, 33,000 seater it's going to be. And I think the intention is to sell that fucker out 81 times a year. But is it going to be the Athletics? Or is it going to be a rebranded team? Are they going to be the Las Vegas something else? Is this the end of the A's? Is it the end of the Athletics, of that identity? Remains to be seen. We're going to find out. But right now, not so fast, Las Vegas Athletics. You're going to have to iron that out with the trademark people. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy what we do, my friends. And most of all, subscribe. At The Ricky Cobb Show on YouTube, we're dropping bangers every day on this channel. So if you like the cut of our jib, jump in there, join our community, and then start liking and commenting, won't you? Because your participation is what makes this so great. It's the reason that I'm here. It's the reason that Ronnie is sitting in the co-pilot's chair. It's the reason that Tim is navigating. It's the reason that we do what we do, and we want to hear from you, and we want to include your thoughts and your brilliant comments in the show, as we frequently do. And many of our viewers find their comments included in the program. You can be one of them. Simply subscribe at The Ricky Cobb Show on YouTube. Jump in, dive in, start commenting, start liking, be a part of our community, because this is a show by the people, for the people, and you, my sweet bastards, are my people. And I love you for that. Isiah Thomas, however, doesn't love Michael Jordan. That's pretty well documented by now, isn't it? And we know the history between these two. Michael Jordan getting frozen out, allegedly, in an all-star game because Isiah Thomas was apparently the guy who had the idea to do that with the East All-Stars. Some jealousy, perhaps, from Zeke there. And then certainly when the Bulls finally broke through and ended the Detroit Pistons' chances of a three-peat, famously, Isiah walked off the court, led his team, Lambeer, all those guys, led them off the court, and Horace Grant, during the last dance, some of you remember, called them straight-up bitches for doing it. So Isiah and Jordan have a history, and here is the latest in the shots that have been fired back and forth between those two going on 4 decades now. Isiah Thomas talking about the current generation, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, other names, and, well, it seems that perhaps he doesn't agree with me that MJ is the GOAT.
Instead of pubbing y'all era up, y'all go back and say our era was the greatest. Oh, Michael Jordan was the greatest. Nobody could ever be greater than Michael Jordan, right? Okay, and then you turn around, but in your era, LeBron James sitting there, he holding every single basketball record. I mean, every single one of them. And you're looking at a Kevin Durant and you're looking at a Steph Curry, but then when y'all say who the greatest, y'all talk about the guy that gave you some shoes and, gave you some warm-ups.
Fair.
We found the one old guy who doesn't think that things in the past are better. And it's inspired 100% by the fact that he hates Michael Jordan. I think. Ronnie, you got any opinion there on Isiah chiming in? I mean, does you think that Isiah Thomas, who played against Michael Jordan, who saw it, who saw Michael Jordan, who was the impediment to Michael Jordan for a long time, that Pistons team gave him fits. And when the Bulls finally got over the hump, he was so salty about it. He's still salty now, 35 years later.
Christy Brinkley wasn't pretty at all. I mean, sometimes people say stupid shit and it's not even worth like a response. Like, say something that we can at least have a conversation about. Weigh what you think. I'll tell you what I think. But to say what he just said, that's just completely stupid. Yeah, he's the GOAT because of the shoes. Come on, man.
Listen, Ron, there are a lot of people that really consider LeBron to be better than MJ.
Oh, my friend Luke does.
I mean,
and we fight him all the time.
Many. And people who are under, say, 40, maybe a majority. I mean, people forget. People forget. And, how relevant were the NBA players of the 1950s to you or me as kids in the 70s?
Oh, I was a huge George Mikan fan.
Granted, Bob Pettit, probably wasn't sending a tingle up too many people's legs, But Michael Jordan, I mean, there's a lot of footage out there. There's been a lot written. There's been a lot of highlight videos. There's been a lot of talk. If there's one guy from a previous generation that young people today should be acquainted with, if they care about basketball at all, it would be Michael Jordan. And I will say this. We have got to, as a society, period, you got to get out of the mentality that most equals best. Most and best are two different things. Sometimes you can have the most and also be the best, but having the most doesn't make you the best. Cy Young has 511 wins. We're in an era right now where I don't know how many pitchers we're going to see in the future who make 511 starts. The 300 game winner is dead. We lamented that for a long time. The 200 game winner may be dead. That escalated quickly, didn't it? Pete Rose is the hit king, 42-56. He signed those four numbers to God knows how many things he signed in his life. I've got an old Sports Illustrated from 1978, signed 42-56. Pete Rose had the most hits. He was nowhere near the best hitter in the history of the league. Nowhere near it. So sometimes most means best. Sometimes most just means you're very, very, very fucking good and you had a lot of longevity. You don't get to have the most points in the history of the NBA without being an all-time great, without being an inner circle all-time great. But that doesn't automatically mean that you're the best player in the history of the league. So the people that point to LeBron James being the greatest ever, and their argument for that is looking at his career numbers. Look, he's a freak. 23 years he's played in the league. We were talking about it earlier this week on the program. He may be a warlock for all I know. This motherfucker's 41 years old and he's still going out there and putting up numbers in the association. You have to respect it. But the greatest ever? Hey, I'm sorry. 10 scoring titles in a row over the 10 full seasons that he played during that time. We're throwing out the retirement. We're throwing out the year that he came back for 17 games and didn't qualify for a scoring title anyway. 10 years in a row, he led the league in scoring, and he led the scoring one year when he was the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. And he won 6 championships, never lost in the finals. He's the greatest that there's ever been. Respect his name. Put respect on his name when it comes out of your mouth, even if you are the great Isiah Thomas. You're not immune from that, Isiah. You're not immune from it at all. And neither is America immune from this, but You don't want immunity from this, my friends, because you want this to get in your bloodstream, percolate, and go through your entire system, especially on a Friday when we get down to championship activity. It's wild card weekend. We got a national semifinal between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Oregon Ducks, but the reason that you know that the shit is really going down this weekend is when I say it's time for America's Poll of the Day, and let's go to it now at Super 70 Sports on X, where the Eagle flies high. Higher than Isiah Thomas was when he suggested that LeBron James is greater than Michael Jordan. And here are the options that we have. The week's winners going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They are bagels. Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Fame wide receiver Lynn Swann. Fred Savage's greatest work that he did just as a child. It must be a feeling to have your greatest accomplishments when you're literally a kid. Kevin Arnold on the Wonder Years. And then lastly, Ronnie's favorite professional wrestler, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Break it down for me, Ronnie, as only you can. Can't hear you, motherfucker. Peacock, are you on the Peacock channel?
See, I hit mute because I had to blow my nose because I've had a cold, and then I forgot to take it off because I don't want people to listen to that nastiness. So, anyways, I apologize. This is easy because I just look at these four and I say, which one would I not want to not be a part of my life? And well, that's bagels. I could do without the other three. Like my life would be just fine. But bagels, as I said earlier this week, I mean, bagels they're crispy and chewy, and then you got the salt.
All right, for God's sake,
bagels.
We know how good they are. We know how good they are.
Cream
you need
cheese.
a cheat day on your diet, Ron. You sound like you're about to stick your dick in a bagel. It's making me uncomfortable. Allow yourself a cheat day, Ron.
About to? Do you want me to pan down?
That was why you muted, I think, is you didn't want us to know what was happening to that bagel. All right, Ronnie, look, I said I like bagels, not as much as you do, but again, it's very rare for me to have a bagel and not feel good about what just happened. Lynn Swann, one of the greatest that there's ever been. The Wonder Years, I liked it back at the time. I don't really ever need to see it again. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, of course, was in the poll this week because I knew that he was your favorite professional wrestler because he murdered his girlfriend, allegedly. We don't know that for sure. He never faced charges, but as O.J. Simpson is your favorite football player, Superfly was your favorite wrestler. You do like those athletes that put somebody in the ground. It's just one of your things. So here's the deal, Ron. For me, as I look at this, it comes down to Lynn Swann and Superfly Snuka probably. I'm going to go with the guy who we know for sure doesn't have any bodies on his record. I'm going to vote for the great Lynn Swann. So let's light this candle and see what the public has to say. Somebody's advancing to the Why Not tournament, Ron. And the anticipation is thicker than a brick right now. Let's see who our week's winner is. And it is the fucking Wonder Years. Bagels. A little bit ahead of Superfly Snuka. And Lynn Swann, I don't know. I think Lynn Swann's being a little disrespected here, quite frankly. The Wonder Years was good. It was good.
You wore your Jets. You wore your Jets. You wore your Jets hoodie. He's got the Jets jacket. I mean,
well, I did.
Yeah, you know.
JETS, Jets. That was a nice jacket he had. What was his buddy's name? Paul? Was that his friend?
Kind of the nerdy kid, yeah.
The nerdy kid, yeah. And then of course,
and how about his brother?
Cooper
his brother was just an ass. What was his brother's name? He was an ass.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I remember his name in real life, but not his name on the show.
That's funny.
Wayne? Was he Wayne?
Oh, good.
Is it coming back to me now?
Yeah, good call.
How about that?
How about Winnie Cooper?
Yeah. Winnie Cooper was a major crush for for a lot
Lots
of
of
young
people.
guys
Yep.
back in the day. Yeah, the great Danica McKellar.
Mathematician.
Ronnie, all right, so that's right. Yeah, she grew up to be a mathematician. Okay, Ronnie, with that decided, it's going to be the Wonder Years moving on as the week's champion. Boy, we've had a week here. I mean, this has been quite a week for WTF. You always bring it strong. You always throw fastballs. I think this week has been one of your strongest that we've had in recent memory. You've got 2026 out of the gate quickly. But before I sink into the comfort of the weekend and all of the football that we've got before us and hanging out with my daughters and just relaxing and all the great things, I'm going to have to face the music here, tilt my head slightly, look at you quizzically, and ask simply, what the fuck, Ron?
This isn't going to be nearly as shocking as the other one. So if you look right here, it's a wooden chair, Ricky. That wooden chair used to be on the track at Ohio State used to have a track inside the stadium. And for football games, they would put these chairs down. Well, I bought that chair off of eBay when they redid the stadium. They dug it down, got rid of the track. And so this is a really cool thing that I have. So you know that the Bills are moving to a new stadium next year. And so that means they're going to demolish Old Rich Stadium. And so they're selling things. Yeah, they're selling chairs, they're selling pieces of AstroTurf, selling lights, selling all kinds of stuff. They're also selling, are you ready? Bathroom troughs. How would you like to have that in your man cave?
That's Wrigley Field. I mean, that's Wrigley Field right there. The trough experience is regrettably slowly going to be removed from society as each of these old stadiums get torn down, I believe. Have they put troughs in any new structures that any of you guys are aware of? Or are the troughs going to die as all of the old stadiums eventually go to the graveyard?
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's just nothing like shoulder to shoulder with another man.
Until you've been drunk with just a river of everybody's urine pooling together to just roll along in front of you. You know?
What's that wine called when they just mix a bunches of wines together? It's got a name.
Hooch?
No.
Is it hooch?
No, there's a name for it. I bet Tim knows. But
hooch is throwing all the alcohol together. Urine hooch is what troughs bring you.
When I first saw this, I thought, this is dumb. Who would ever buy that? But then I started thinking, okay, if I'm a huge Bills fan and I've got the right kind of structure, house, maybe I have a...
No, stop.
My friends would get such a kick out of it. They'd get such a kick out of it. Oh,
just don't. Ron,
such
don't.
a kick out of it.
No, it's still a bad idea. It's still a bad idea. Keep thinking about that until your judgment circles back around to your initial reaction.
How about this one? If you ever custom built a house, would you want a urinal in your bathroom instead of having just a regular toilet? Because I know a lot of guys do that.
Yes. Why are urinals only for the public?
Right?
And then you get bitched out about the toilet seat. Whatever. I mean, my girlfriend doesn't do that, but
splashing, as Tim just said, splashing.
Yeah. It's like, hey, no problem. I'll just poop there and I'll hose over here at my urinal. Install it in your man cave. You don't even have to go upstairs and, see the mother of your children. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe put a refrigerator down there
for a lot of people.
Maybe a little cooktop. I mean, then you just never have to leave.
Maybe you and I need to go into the urinal business together, Ron.
Ooh,
as we explore business strategies.
We do logoed. We do logoed urinals, and so you put the team of your rival on it. So I would have a Michigan urinal. You'd have what? I don't know, Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals urinal.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah.
We would just put a picture of Tony Romo in yours.
Ooh, there we
Ron.
go.
And there you go. All right, what the fuck else is?
Okay.
What the fuck else is going on? Please tell me it doesn't.
Policy.
Please tell me it doesn't involve meat.
Nope.
Or
no
dicks.
No.
Okay.
Well, that
right.
last one kind of was dick adjacent.
Well, it did actually. You're right.
Adjacent. Yeah.
You're right. It was phallus adjacent.
Yeah. Another band I was in, by the way. You know my policy on helicopters, correct?
Only in a life or death circumstance.
A life flight situation.
You had to go.
It would have to be. Yeah, it has to be a
life flight.
Yeah.
Situation for yourself or a loved one, either an incapacitated Ronnie T-shirts or someone in your inner circle that you had to be by their side.
Exactly.
Yes.
So,
and I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you on that one.
Olga Namova from Belarus decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get in a helicopter. I'm going to go almost 21,000 feet up above Mount Everest, and then I'm going to jump out of said helicopter, and I'm going to sky surf. And while I do that, I'll be setting a world record. So this woman took a helicopter. I just can't, Ricky. I just couldn't. I don't understand. I don't understand people that do this stuff.
How is your life? Is that like the only way that they can feel alive? Do you think?
It must be, right?
Like we talked about the free climbers and stuff before.
Yeah.
Like do you are they just like so chill that just like baseline regular life, like they just pinch themselves and they feel nothing?
They must.
But they're like, maybe if I go 21,000 feet up in a helicopter and jump out over a fucking mountain, maybe for at least 2 or 3 minutes, I might feel something in my body.
I mean, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point. Like I can after the show, man, I'm gonna throw some headphones on. I'm gonna go take a walk. I'm just gonna enjoy it being nice outside and looking at everything. And so like I'm gonna get satisfaction from that. Like I don't need to.
Are you ever just gonna experience some sense of ennui where you're just like, I don't know, this walk doesn't mean anything. Like my work doesn't mean anything. My hobbies aren't bringing me fun. But maybe if I just jump out of a fucking helicopter at 21,000 feet, that might be a decent Friday. I don't see, because like what happened to self-preservation instinct?
Right.
People like that to me lack a self-preservation instinct. Like it is like bred into our DNA over thousands of generations that we're supposed to like avoid things that could like kill us, because I mean human beings are pretty sturdy, but we're also very fragile.
Yep. Right?
And it's like Jerry Seinfeld said, like helmets. I remember Seinfeld doing a bit one time, Ron, where he talked about helmets and he said, what does it say for us as a species that we had to design helmets because we're involved in so many head cracking activities? Animals don't need helmets.
Right.
Dogs don't need helmets. You know what I mean? Because they're not smart enough to be dumb enough to do things that are going to kill them if they're not wearing a helmet. They chase cars and shit, which is stupid, but
that is.
You follow what I'm saying? Maybe they could. There are a few dogs out there that would benefit from a helmet. All right, let's go to poll replies, shall we, as we wrap this one up to put a bow on it. See what folks are saying about Championship Friday. Father Paul Cammon, the vicar of Super 70 Sports, Father Paul, sweet bastard of God that he is, said, I ended up going Wonder Years, but if you replace bagels with donuts, well, now that is a clear choice. I would agree with you on donuts being superior to bagels, Father Paul. The Yacht Rock Playlist Consultant says, toss me an apron, let's bagel. Cosmo Kramer, never wiser than in that moment. Bagels are always a good decision. I'm just telling you. All right, so that's it for today. My thanks today to Ronnie. My thanks to everybody in Nashville, PA Jared, producer Tim of course, and most of all, as always, you sweet bastards, because you're the reason that we do this. Subscribe to The Ricky Cobb Show at The Ricky Cobb Show on YouTube. And this weekend, whatever you do, do it well. Have fun doing it. And we'll meet back here again next week when we tee it high and let it fly with another episode of The Ricky Cobb Show.